Hey, thank you for joining us. I'm PC, your online campus pastor, and this is your sermon recap. Thanks for joining us. We had our Back to Church Sunday here at Think Kingdom, and I can tell you guys off the rip, it was awesome. It was spectacular. If you were here in person, of course you already know. But those of you that joined us online, once again, thank you for joining us. And as always, thanks for continuing to join with us. Subscribe to us on our YouTube page, like our page on Facebook, and stay up to date with what's going on currently here at Think Kingdom. Pastor Lassiter opened us up in our part 2 of our Esther series here at Think Kingdom about the sovereignty of God. He continued to just take us even deeper from what we was in chapter 1, just taking us even deeper into the playbook and what God is doing throughout our world, throughout our nation, how he used the children of Israel to display his greatness, even when his name is never mentioned in the book. I think it's ironic. I think it's interesting because in Esther chapter 2, they're in exile and they're moving. The king loses his position. And the king, Esther, has become one of the king's favorite throughout the kingdom. Matter of fact, he moves her into a secluded area within his kingdom to be able to show her, to get her some beauty treatment. Some Jews were actually granted freedom because they were living already currently at the time in a pagan land of the forgotten. Basically, in this narrative, basically a land that has forgotten God. They were granted their freedom. I think it's interesting that many of the Jews went back home, but some stayed. Here's the question for you and I as we dive into this recap. Why stay? Rather than be in a land that honors your faith, yet you stay in a place that doesn't. When you understand the sovereignty of God, and this is what it really meant to me, this is where my conviction came in, that when you understand the sovereignty of God, when you know and understand that it doesn't matter where your geographic location is for God to move, it's all about the geographic location of your heart. And God really just spoke to me that it's not about where you are physically, it's about where you are spiritually. Because the same God that moved then is the same God that moved for you and I today. And I'm so thankful that God, you know what, it doesn't make a difference from where I'm located at living with my family or where I'm located at working. God still gets the glory in it all when my heart is in the right posture geographically for him to move in my life and for me to become available for him. I'm just so thankful that we serve a God like that. There's sovereignty over all, not sovereignty over circumstance or happenstance, but he's sovereignty over my willingness to continue to be a willing vessel for him. Just like Esther is in the book in chapter 2, her sovereignty and willingness to be able to be a willing vessel for God to be able to move in her, even in a more important time in the land of the forbidden, plus in the land of the forgotten. Hey, look, that's your sermon recap. Hope to see you next week.